Hi and welcome to The Trend. See, I've already messed up. At least the lipstick looks nice. Hi and welcome to Late to the Trend, because I'm old. Although I am sporting some nice new lipstick and my hair is looking really fly. Don't ever say that again. Anyway, so this is going to be a bit of a mishmash of things that I'm going to be talking about because it's the end of January. It's going to be about how this week has been. It's going to be how January has been overall. And it's also going to be about what I'm hoping to, or what February is going to entail. So the first thing that I want to talk about is my PIP review. This week has been a bit more stressful than last week in terms of the fact that I had more things that were out of my control. So for example, I can't control when somebody processes their work in order for me to be able to then check that work. And it was a bit stressful because I felt like I didn't want to fail my PIP because somebody else or something else was out of my control. So I had to speak to my manager, and he was actually really quite amenable. He mentioned that I don't have to be stressed about it because adding stress is not his intention, and he wants to make sure that I'm at least keeping him in communication. So what I do is I mention to him at about 2 o'clock what I've achieved and what I still have to achieve, and he says generally that's good progress, and if I have any concerns, that's when I tell him about those concerns, and generally speaking it's been good. So even though I did make a few mistakes last week, he understood why those mistakes were made, and it was generally because of one particular file that I was given at 4:30 to do part of the checking, and then the next day I was given it much later, and the turnaround time became a lot smaller, and so the pressure was more on me to get that done. But if it had come to me earlier in the day, then I might have been able to have achieved that without any issues. So it's just something that I need to work on a bit later. Something else that's going to be happening this coming week, is I'm going to be having a work assessment around my ADHD. It was suggested to me last week that this is something that my workplace could offer to me. So I'm going to be having a workplace assessment basically, but it's going to be specific to my ADHD and sort of explain to them what my issues are, and also have them perhaps offer me ways to cope with things. So a good example is I get very easily distracted by audio cues. So that means that if there's a sharp sudden noise, I'll lose my attention on what I'm looking at. It's then difficult for me to regain my focus. For example, where I'm sitting, it's fairly quiet. Next week, there's going to be a shift around of desks, so I'm going to be amongst a lot more people again, which means a lot of talking, a lot of banter going on, that kind of thing. But last week, I was especially distracted by a new person that was sitting in my row, basically, and because she was facing me, her voice was very distracting for me when she was talking to customers, clients, and even her friend. And in the end, I had to put on half a headphone. So we have these earpieces, which are like just over one ear with a mouthpiece. So I had that on. I managed to log into Spotify, which, at any time work could take that away. And I was just listening to some ambient music in this ear, and it helped me to draw my focus here and there and be able to continue doing my work. So that was a positive, and it will be something that I'm definitely going to mention to them at the assessment, because I need to know that if that is a coping mechanism, that I can use it without being judged. Something else that was good was my dad was back home from the hospital. He came back on Monday. He needs a lot of assistance at the moment, but by today, which I then spoke to both my parents, and my mum was quite encouraged about the fact that he's doing really well. He made a joke while we were on the Zoom call, and that's always a good sign because that's the way he does things. So that was pleasing to hear. It did come as a bit of a shock that apparently, and I don't really want to be thinking about this, but he nearly passed away in the hospital. He nearly died because of all the things that were wrong with him. He had sepsis, he had an upper GI bleed, he had gallbladder issues, he wasn't eating, and when he was eating, it was just going straight through him. So he was really bad, but because my mum wasn't allowed to go into the hospital, they couldn't really tell her that, or she didn't have an opportunity to speak to the doctors. But the doctor that came to see him the other day was surprised at how well he's actually doing at home because of everything that was wrong with him. So that was very encouraging, but it does make me worry a little bit about the future. He is getting older, and it is something that I am going to have to deal with, but I don't want to think about it right now. No. 2022 has already taken too many good people, and it's only January, so stop it. 2022, I'm watching you. The other day, I'm not going to explain the reason why, but 2 negative things happened in very close succession, both involving things that I'm passionate about. It was a couple of weeks ago. I was supremely angry, but this anger had me absolutely shaking, like, ooh. But I'm not going to explain what they were. However, my immediate reaction was I wanted pizza. I wanted to order pizza. I wanted to channel that anger into just munching on Domino's and chicken wings and ice cream. And again, I managed to resist because there was no voucher codes. Now I'm going to be talking a little bit about something about Domino's very shortly, but suffice it to say, I still haven't quite found a way to deal with my emotions that don't involve food, but it is something that I need to work on. I need to find an outlet for hopefully not eating food as a way to get serotonin and dopamine, that kind of thing. Which brings me on to how January was in general. Overall, January was a really good month, so I've lost a fair bit of weight. I'm not going to say how much because I know how much. I don't need to vocalize it here. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how I do in any one month, as long as I'm making a loss for the time being. The ultimate goal is to lose a certain amount of weight by the 31st of December. So overall, by the 31st of December, that is what matters. The fact that I've lost weight this month doesn't mean I'm going to lose the same amount of weight next month because of various different reasons. You tend to plateau, things become stagnant, and you carry on doing the things the way that you have been doing. The calorie counting has been supremely successful. It always is. Calorie counting for me has been very, very good. Even when I was doing the very restrictive calorie amounts, it was still really good. I still saw weight loss. The nice thing about losing the weight this month is that I've been using 1800 calories as my uppermost, and on a decent day, I don't reach that. There were a couple of days, obviously, where I went over my calorie allowance, but overall, I think I was in a calorie deficit, definitely. I didn't do as much walking as I wanted to do. Exercise, and again, that's something that I need to explain a bit later. Exercise is something that I hate doing, and there are decent reasons, or excuses, whichever you want to call, for the reason why I don't do exercise, and I haven't done exercise. But back to this month, after a discussion with one of my friends, I have to see Domino's as an enemy, as a proper addiction. So not something that I can actually go to as a treat, which is, it makes me feel sad about saying that, but it's kind of like I can't see it as anything other than a really bad addiction or an abusive boyfriend. You can't just go back to your abusive boyfriend for a night of passion, because you'll regret it at the end of the day. So I have to see it as that, which is sad. And I was gonna plan to have Domino's as like a special treat or for my birthday or anything like that. However, it is my weakness. It is a slippery slope. Yes, I did get takeaway in January. However, it's not one that I will always go to. I won't always go for that. I don't crave it as much as I do Domino's. So I need to stop forever for Domino's, which is the reason why I've decided that I'm gonna actually do tokens like the AA. So I've ordered some pretty cool wooden discs, which I'm going to decorate 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, up to 12 months, and then 18 months, and then 2 years, that kind of thing. So I think that'd be quite cool to have. And I might also do one for weight lost. So X amount of weight lost, X, you know, and just have them on keychains, because they have little holes in them and they come with keychain accessories. So I can put them on my bag, I can put them on my keys as kind of like a constant reminder of how well I am doing, because I am doing well, and that's important to understand. January is usually a really easy month for me to achieve certain goals because I'm fired up. It's new year, new me. But it's usually going forward that's the difficult part. So, you know, going into February with this mindset of I'm doing really well, I have the encouragement of friends and family to carry on going, and it makes me hopeful that I'm actually going to achieve what I set out to do. Probably should have done this many years ago, but I guess I needed to be in the right mindset. So that was January. So what are the goals for February? So obviously I'm going to continue doing the 1800 calories as my upper limit in terms of calories consumed. However, I did say that in February I was going to start doing exercise. Now, exercise is not my strong point. I've never been fit ever since I was a child. Never been fit. I might have been half the size that I am now, but I've never been able to do cardio. I've never been able to maintain a fitness regime. I need to start very slowly. So what I'm going to be concentrating on is, again, ultimately my goal is by the end of the year, I want to do 10 from the floor push-ups. So not standing push-ups or anything like that, or knee push-ups. That's not my goal. I need to do a proper thing. And in order to do that, I need to concentrate on my upper body and my core. I have downloaded a couple of apps that concentrate on core, strength and upper body. I'm going to be doing potentially some walking workouts that I found on YouTube as well. But the main goal is to try and do 30 minutes a day, or even 10 minutes a day, or even 5 minutes a day. I need to get into the habit of doing something every day. Sunday, maybe not so much. Sunday is my rest day where I don't work. I don't do anything apart from maybe stick to my calorie allowance. Not maybe, stick to my calorie allowance. I intend to have a look at those apps and see what I can do, with the intention of, from the 1st of February, doing at least a half an hour if I can each day. The main thing is that I can currently do 1 push-up. By the end of February, I want to be able to do 2 push-ups from the floor. And that is my goal. Now, just to explain a little bit about how exercise makes me feel, it makes me feel horrible. I don't get that rush of endorphins or whatever that people say that they get. I never have. Sometimes I feel accomplished when I do 10,000 steps a day, when I'm really pushing myself. And obviously the weather's not been great. It's dark when I get home from work, so it's difficult to go for walks in the evening. So the intention is to do the exercises when I'm finished work rather than first thing in the morning, because I'm not a morning person either. I struggle enough to get out of bed and have a shower. I may incorporate some easy stretches in the morning just to get the blood flowing. That's not something that I'm planning to do, but I may incorporate it. The other thing that I'm going to be doing in terms of diet is I'm not changing the amount of calories that I'm going to be eating, but I am going to be trying to reduce the amount of carbohydrates that I eat. So not fruits and vegetables as such. In fact, I'll probably try to eat a bit more of that. But in terms of things like bread and pasta, I'm going to try and just cut down on what I eat. So in other words, maybe I would have 2 slices of toast with egg and beans. I'll only have 1 slice. If I have a cup of pasta, I'll try and reduce that to half a cup. It's all about reducing the amount of carbs that I'm eating rather than the amount of calories as such. So I'll be loading my plate with more vegetables and protein. So the short version is do more exercise, eat less carbohydrates, 2 push-ups by the end of February. And that's floor push-ups. I'm not going to be doing it from like reclined or, you know, it has to be on the floor. That is the intention. That was my week, that was my month, and that's where I'm going forward. Things are going well, and I hope to continue doing well. These videos have actually been helping me quite a lot. I enjoy doing them, even if it is a rush on a Sunday night to get them done, but I'm usually too exhausted the rest of the week to attempt to do anything of the sort. So yeah, I'll just keep going and see how I do. Anyway, I will see you next week. Bye.